as well as the home of my next story, Miss Catalina de Porras. Now, Catalina de Porras lived here in St. Augustine in 1763 when the British came.
Oh, man, them British.
I'm Cuban, so I'm a little jaded too. Yeah. Now, Catalina and her entire family were kicked out of her childhood home and sent back to Havana, Cuba. Now, being only 10 years old, Miss Catalina did not understand why she had to leave her home. So she kicked, she screamed, she cried, she yelled, and then she made a vow that she would return to the home and it would be hers again. 20 years later, she got her chance. Spain was giving back Florida out of help for the American Revolution.
Rock on!
And Miss Catalina returned with her new hubby in tow. Except for the fact that there was somebody living in her home. Friends of the governor. Miss Catalina petitioned the royal governor for 6 years to get her home back. And she finally returned to the Burgundy building with the green shutters to your left-hand side at the age of 36. She began restoring her childhood memories until she breathed her last breath 5 years later inside that home. Now, being so strong-willed, Miss Catalina did vow that she would never leave her home again. So managers and customers of Harry's often report a female figure standing down hallways and in empty rooms. Snuffed-out candles often relight and fireplaces extinguish on their own. The strong scent of perfume wafts through the air with no one moving. Now, one woman was in the second-floor women's restroom washing her hands at the glass, but a strange presence behind her. Now, she brushed it off as a public restroom till she looked back in the mirror and saw a set of eyes staring back at her. Now, this is supposed to be the most haunted room because this was Miss Catalina's original bedroom. So many amateur ghost hunters and this man have gone into that second-floor women's restroom, taking photos of themselves in the glass. Or at least that's what he told me. One or two have seen Miss Catalina standing behind their shoulder. Now she is joined 100 years later by a male figure, and we know it is not her husband because he appears in late Victorian clothing. He's thought to be a man in the house when it was a boarding home and the building burned down in the late 1900s. He, gone with the wind style, still walks down the grand staircase, through the main dining room and disappears. So if you see two figures at 46 Avenida Menendez, make sure you say hello to the ghost hostess with the mostest, Miss Catalina de Porras. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching my second stop for the evening, the old jail. Now, the old jail is on the National Register of Haunted Places and has been visited by taps, ghost hunters, paranormal seekers, and the like. One night, we had the Port Orange Paranormal Society spend the night in our old jail and capture this EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. Listen closely and tell me what you hear. Any guesses?
Who's here?
Close. Now what it says is there are only 8. One more time for me. Now, when the Port Orange Paranormal Society brought this to us, we were like, okay, cool, 8 what? And then we did more research. You see, as it turns out, there were only 8 documented hangings in the St. Johns County Jail. However, hundreds of men died. The upper floor windows were exposed to the elements of mosquitoes, bedbugs, rats, lice infected the jail and made the men sick. The cells were overcrowded, upwards of 11 men for a room built for 4. Can you imagine? The stench of overflowing toilet buckets and unwashed men. Then these men had to endure some of the worst work details in the county. Turpentine camps, swamp drainage, and road building were just some of the few. And if you survived that, a shake in the back might be your reward. Now, Henry Flagler commissioned this building to look like one of his hotels at first glance. You see, the original jail was right across the street in what is now the Bank of America building from his brand new Hotel Paso de Leon. So he hired a fancy architect from up north. He became so well known for his work in our old jail that he later went on to build the old Clay County Jail in Alcatraz. It's a very secure prison with the original bars and doors and place. Now this building is built to contain hate, rage, and anger, and these feelings don't just go away when the men leave. They stain the floors, they linger on the walls, and they hang on the ceiling beams. And now, we're going inside. Now, this is a historic building, and we will be going up one flight of stairs. We do not have an elevator, but we do have accommodation, so if that is an issue, please do let me know. In addition, the floors are dark and uneven at times, so please watch your head and step. Now, it's not dark enough to need a flashlight, so if you can keep any sustained flashes out of anyone's eyes, we would greatly appreciate it. Now, once again, this is going to be the last time we'll be seeing the Flying Dutchman.
We are in the old jail right now.
Hey guys, we just entered the jail.
Wow. This must have been the kitchen.
I should have got my EMF meter out before we went.
Oh, mine's right here, Jess. Grab it. Grab it.
What?
It's right in that pocket right there. Can you reach it? It's there.
It's just a safety concern.
It's right there.
I don't feel it.
In the little pocket? Hang on.
Her up real quick. Took a straight razor, went hacking at her throat, got stuck in her collarbone, and he couldn't yank it out. A couple of neighbors came in, found Sims lifting his wife's body with her head hanging by a thread. What a bloody mess. His final wish at his execution was to speechify it to the crowd. Must have been about 500 people there. He went on making a grand fuss. He told everybody he'd meet them all in heaven. You wouldn't believe what happened next. A couple of brain doctors came down from up north, wanted to perform an experiment during the hanging. Sounded kind of sick to me. They wanted Sims to wiggle his fingers as long as he could while he was hanging there. They dropped that door, Sim went on wiggling, them doctors getting all excited. They wanted to see how long it was before he lost his conscious mind. Well, Sim went on wiggling for 11 minutes, and it was all of 30 before he gave up living, and they pronounced him officially dead. How do you think it feels hanging there for all that time? With your body slowly dying and your being fighting for your last ounce of air. Well, in case you've never been hung before, I'm going to tell you what it's like. First of all, they make you build the death trap yourself. Then once it's built, you got to gap at them dang gallows because they're right outside your window for a month before your number comes up. On the day of your hanging, they bind your hands together real tight because they feared you're going to run off or do something wild. They take precautions by having extra guns standing around pointing at you to make sure you're going to drop. And if you're lucky enough, you say something grandiose to the crowd. Of course, some people just don't say nothing. And Steve Johnson, he just said to a friend, "Bring my boots to my wife, 'cause she can't afford to bury me." Them boots never got there. Steve's friend just didn't have the heart to tell him what his wife really thought of him. Nothing much. Them boots is upstairs. What are you looking at my feet for? You think I got them on? That'd be sick. You don't believe me? I'll show them to you. Come on, everybody upstairs now. Now nobody go dilly-dally down here alone, because if the home don't get you, the rat surely will. Come on.
Mine too was pushing my camera down.
My EVP started going off.
Mine did too.
And I was right when he was over here, and then that's why I got started when he slammed down.
I had
because it was
some
really going
huge-
off and pushed my camera.
I had some of the huge spikes when I was holding it inside that cell.
It was going off over here.
Oh, I didn't even get a photo in here.
Now, move right in, move right in. 2 steps coming down. Move right in, move right in.
What did?
All right, as I said, do not go in those cells on the side. You can stand at the doorway with the flash of things. All right. Coming for the head of the table. Newly attacked a local Jacksonville store owner named Isaac Silverstein and his family. Those murderers left their bruised and battered bodies for dead and then requested to be hung here in St. Augustine with old Steve on account they knew their sentence would be carried out quicker. You see, these men knew what jail time was like in these parts, and they deserved what they got, even though Tom was whining. Oh, if I hadn't been friends with Eugene, this whole thing never ever would have happened. Now I'm going to tell you about a man you'd be glad you never meet in the middle of the night. His name was George Hawkins.
I knew that was coming.
Hawkins was a man that liked to live in the shadows, jumping in and out of the light. He had a dark mind and found a perfect prey in a Syrian
Okay, so it's really cold right here.
Joseph made his living selling cheap jewelry.
All kinds of stuff on there.
And the cold, it went away. Yeah,
Hawkins followed him out of town,
just went away.
ducked behind trees, waiting for the moment to strike. He jumped up on his wagon, and he cut that peddler from neck to navel. But he wasn't done yet. He reached inside and pulled the man's insides out. Then he used the man's own wagon to cart those remains out into the middle of the woods. He thought he'd get away with what he did, but he didn't take into account the horse getting hungry, walking back into town with a blood-soaked wagon. And that wagon left a gruesome trail back to when the peddler was killed and good. Oh, what a cruel way to die, even for a peddler. But every man isn't always guilty. Sheriff Perry, I didn't kill my brother. You got the wrong guy. Sheriff Perry, I know that man a long time. He wouldn't do something like that. Sheriff Perry,
Look at my
you gotta let
EMS
my
meter.
husband go. He's the father to our boys.
And it got really blurry. Yeah.
There was a man who didn't deserve what he got. His name was Robert Lee. Robert Lee was an innocent man. His friend, James Kirby, killed the man who had a bunch of money. He was getting ready to pay his workers. And Kirby told the authorities, old Joseph Perry, that his friend, Robert Lee, helped him kill the man on account he was a coward. And he didn't want to die alone. Let my friend Robert go. He's innocent. He didn't do nothing. I lied on him.
There was just a cold spot.
It was too late to help his buddy. Sheriff Perry said, people are expecting a double hanging. And I can't change it now on account of a murderous conscience. He was a madman. All right now, let's see who is listening. How many hangings did I tell you about so far? Shout it out, you got an answer.
Wow, look at the lights.
8. I haven't heard it yet. 1 less than 8 is how many? 7. Oh, look at that, you can subtract.
Angie.
I can't be around these bars for too long. I gotta get out of here. And you best better come with me. I don't got much time, and something tells me you don't either. I got one last story to tell you, and I know just the place. Come on, everybody, outside these doors. Move right up. As as you're coming down the stairs, fall in behind. Now these gallows were just used yesterday. I ought to know they was for me. But I ain't like those other men I told you about, no sirree. I killed a man, but it was justifiable defense. He was saying unsavory things about my wife, and I love my wife. A man like that, someone will shut him up. Oh, you should have been there. The look on his face after everything he said. A man like that just doesn't deserve to live, so I shot him right where he stood. Bang! The day of my hanging came soon enough. I wasn't feeling well, and if you read the rules, it states they're going to postpone a hanging if a man ain't in good health. You wouldn't be feeling too good on the day of your hanging either. Finally, I just plumb passed out. They had to drag me, unconscious, out to the gallows. Sheriff Perry just wanted to get the whole thing over and done with. He said the crowd is expecting a hanging, and I aim to give them one. But he didn't take into account they couldn't even stand me up. But that old dog Perry got aboard. He latched me onto it. I was deuce high. They pulled that lever and down I came. But the board was a last-minute decision, and a bad one at that. The wind of that board snapped that rope. I went sprawling awake in a crowd, right where you're standing. Everybody was running around. Sheriff Perry said, "Give me a rope, give me a rope." I moaned. My neck was broken in two. I knew by the time they got another noose, I'd be dead. Finally, my time here has come to an end. What's that? Sheriff Perry, no! You're not hanging me again! Not again! Not every night! No! 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 No!
Oh my goodness, is everybody okay? I'm so sorry. I went to go check on Miss Addison and then I got locked out. Our trolley is here though, so please watch your head, step, and follow us.
Oh my gosh.
The Welcome Center. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my last story is about a very brave warrior by the name of Osceola. Now, in 1837, Osceola and his men were fighting with the United States in a war known as the Second Seminole War. Now, a truce was rumored to be offered, so Osceola decided it was time to end the bloodshed by marching up to Augustine and Marcos, where it was revealed that there was no such truce. Osceola and his men were thrown into jail inside the fort, where Osceola became very ill. Now, he was given a local physician by the name of Dr. Frederick Wheaton, and Dr. Wheaton was well regarded, so no one thought it was strange when he requested Osceola move to Fort Moultrie, South Carolina, where Osceola died of malaria. Now, here's where the story takes a turn for the bizarre. Dr. Wheaton requested to be alone with the body before burial, and while there, he placed down his medical bag, took out his sharpest surgical knife, and began removing the head of Osceola from his body. He covered the deed with a ceremonial scarf until the funeral the next day. After the funeral, he once again requested to be alone with his dear friend. And while there, he removed the head from the coffin, placed it in his medical bag, and Osceola was buried with none the wiser. When Dr. Wheaton returned to St. Augustine, he placed that head in a jar on display on his desk, never revealing its true source. His patients were often too polite to ask where the head had come from. Now, it is often rumored that Dr. Wheaton's children were some of the best behaved in town. This could be due to the fact Dr. Wheaton used to place the head on the children's nightstand, send them to bed for the evening, and lock them in. Now, he must have wanted well-behaved grandchildren as well, because when his eldest daughter got married in 1863, he gifted her the head as a wedding present. She promptly got rid of the head by donating it to a medical sanitarium in upstate New York, which burned down 3 years later. Now, many of the artifacts were recovered, but the head of Osceola never was. In fact, it is still missing to this very day. that could explain why we get reports of a man in Native American garb by our Castillo de San Marcos late at night. It is rumored what Dr. Eden did was sever the soul from the body of Osceola, forcing Osceola's spirit to wander eternally. Some say Dr. Eden knew exactly what he was doing. See, he had brothers and cousins who fought in the First Seminole War and were cut down by the brave warrior's hand. Maybe Dr. Eden's getting his final revenge on Osceola to this very day. The end.
Yay!
Thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. Now, if you loved all the stories you heard tonight, plus 20 others, our driver, the Flying Dutchman, does still have those books for you. Now, if you look at the back of your ticket, there is a prepaid postage card. Dropped in the mail or in these gallows, we read every single one, so please let us know what you thought. My name was Alexis. Your driver tonight was the Flying Dutchman. Your executioner tonight was Willie. No, it was Tom. And your Charlie Bowles' name was Richard. If you had online tickets, you could drop those reviews on TripAdvisor, Facebook, Google, and the like. Now, if you're traveling in San Diego, California, Washington, D.C., Boston, Massachusetts, Nashville, Tennessee, Savannah, Georgia, or Key West, Florida, please look out for Ghosts and Gravestones presented by Historic Tours of America. Please watch your head and stuff as you exit the trolley and have a very spooky evening.
Yay!
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet.
Huzzah.
Where's she going? Where's she going?
Alright guys, so we just got off of the tour here. It was a pretty good tour. I got some big spikes on my EMF meter. But alright guys, I love you guys and I will see you soon. Bye.